The Gulf of Mexico has a tragic history of pollution, particularly since the Deepwater Horizon spill in 2010, when at least 5 million barrels of oil are estimated to have leaked into its waters. It now turns out the situation may be even worse after environmental groups revealed the U.S. government has handed out over 1,000 permits for offshore fracking in the very same area since 2010. Now, according to the Center for Biological Diversity, 76 billion gallons of toxic wastewater have been dumped into the ocean as a result of offshore fracking in the area. Kristen Mansell, who is behind the report, says government agencies did not realize the consequences of giving out all those licenses.
We had to submit a FOIA request to even know that they were permitting fracking offshore in the Gulf of Mexico. And one of the most startling things was that the agencies didn't even know it was happening. They didn't even know what they were allowing. And they certainly weren't tracking the practice at all. In fact, it took our FOIA request and the agency going through all of its well records for them to even know how many frack jobs they had permitted. They did so without conducting any real environmental analysis or any analysis on the impacts to threatened and endangered species, and without involving the public. And that's just unacceptable. Offshore fracking is an inherently dangerous practice that has absolutely no place in fragile ocean ecosystems.
The wastewater that leaked into the Gulf as a result of fracking contains chemicals that cause irreversible damage to ecosystems. Many marine species die or suffer genetic mutations in future generations. The pollution also affects coastal communities, increasing the risk of cancer. Kristen Mansell confirms offshore fracking waste contains extremely hazardous materials.
The government hasn't really studied it before. They haven't studied the impacts of the chemicals that these companies are allowed to dump directly into the ocean, including in critical habitat for threatened and endangered species like loggerhead sea turtles. The chemicals used in offshore fracking are listed as among the most toxic in the entire world with respect to aquatic life, and it's just too big of a risk with our fragile ocean ecosystems. I mean, the Gulf of Mexico is one of the most biologically diverse, productive ecosystems in the entire country. And the administration is just allowing these oil companies to frack at will without doing any real analysis whatsoever. And that's just unacceptable.